Well, hello there, you beautiful, beautiful, amazing, wonderful people. You. It's Saturday. It's Saturday, baby. We shouldn't even be working, should we, on a Saturday? We shouldn't even be working, but here we are. Here we are. We're working. You're looking absolutely amazing as well, which is a good thing. Sun is kind of shining. Well, it's better than it normally is here in the UK. We're going to get straight into some meat and potatoes because what do we got? Well, a load of you reached out to me over the last few hours going nuts, going absolutely nuts because Translucent had done a video releasing the arrest of I think it's a woman. Looks like a woman. Think it could be. It could be. Looks a little bit like Herman Munster if you fed him up with I don't know, not like the poster child for why not to do meth. But look, this is the video that we're talking about, and we'll get into it in a second. So this is the video. This is Translucent's video. Xana's DoorDasher arrested. If she's door dashing, boys, she's delivering more than food, I'm telling you. And it says, whoa, you won't believe what we just uncovered. Remember that court document showing the Dasher ID we talked about before? We previously determined the identity to be Molly Mae McMichael. Well, we've been digging deeper and things are getting wild. We're now waiting on some public records to see if her car scene in the Linda Lane matches up with hers. But here's the kicker. We stumbled upon an arrest video from last year in Pullman. I can't even. And there is the special individual there. So look, we are waiting to get absolute clarification that this is indeed the DoorDasher. It looks like that is the case, but I'm not going to sit here and say that it's absolutely 100% accurate because I don't know. But the word on the streets is that this is the DoorDasher by whom Xana Kernodle would have ordered food, and she was going to be the one who delivered it. Now, we have spoken about the car in the footage and the behaviour of the car going up and down the road, turning round, not really knowing, not looking like it knows where it's going or what it's doing. Looks like she's driving it. It looks like she is possibly driving it because I can imagine it would be easier for her to get lost than a doctorate student doing his PhD. But look. It is what it is. She's obviously going through a hard time in her life, and I wish her the very best in her recovery. But what I will say is this is what right. So let's just get this right. Let's step back. We'll step back, Shadrach, right? So the the prosecution's star witnesses at the moment seems to be Dylan Mortensen, who she does not know what she saw, whether what was real, what wasn't real. Frozen shock phase, potentially, but frozen shock phase translates to Texan going round the house, seeing Xana, ignoring Xana laying on the floor, looking for jobs and stuff and contact, all of this sort of stuff. Not frozen whatsoever. And again, by her own admission, she doesn't know what was real, what to trust. She doesn't know whether she saw a face. She wasn't able to actually identify Bryan from a picture. And the bushy eyebrows statement even doesn't seem to have come up until perhaps her third interview, when it seems like she was guided into the bushy eyebrow statement. So that's one of the witnesses that we've got, which you would think that's not going that well at that stage. And then we've got the DoorDasher, this woman here who's claiming in this video. And I would say go over to Translucent, watch the video. It's 56 minutes of your life that you will never get back. But if you take into context that this person is potentially, by her own admission, the DoorDash driver who actually claims as well that she saw Bryan Kohberger. Now, not being funny, but from all of the footage that we've seen, it doesn't really seem possible that the DoorDash driver could have physically seen Bryan. And I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure, but I wouldn't think that I could potentially trust what she's saying for various reasons. One, that she was likely off a absolute box, and secondly, she is the absolute poster child for someone who could be leveraged by law enforcement. And when you see shit like this and you hear about previous cases as well, where people are leaned on by law enforcement, these are the people who you would likely see being leveraged on. You know, we will do you a favor if you do us a favor. You definitely saw bushy eyebrows, didn't you? You definitely did. You did. And this one, you saw Bryan, didn't you? You saw him. You did. Would you trust her? Would you trust her? I don't know if if I was on the jury and they were like, right, so we've got some witnesses, and here they are. This is witness one, this woman, and we think she's a woman. And then this one here. This is Dylan Mortensen, where no one else can see him. We're just going to hide him from everyone. Just you can see him. And we're not going to let him be questioned or anything because they could cave. There is a real chance that they could cave under the pressure. But this is what I love about mainstream media, right? Because you haven't seen this rolling through mainstream media. Now, will it? I would be interested to see if it does. Because what I will say is if this is 100% accurate and that is the DoorDash driver and she has been arrested and she seemingly was arrested a while back, and this is, I would absolutely question why mainstream media wouldn't have got hold of this and ran with it. Because look, the one thing that we have got to think about, and what a lot of people say, is it's all about money with media. It's all about money. And what is going to spark interest, curiosity, what's going to get the views in? Do you know what I mean? That's what people say. But I think there's more to that than meets the eye. And like I say, if this transpires to be absolutely 100% accurate, and this is the DoorDash driver, she's obviously off her absolute fucking tits, and she claims that she saw Bryan Kohberger, she's an eyewitness. And yeah, why would mainstream media not latch onto that like a dog humping a leg? Because there's no reason why they wouldn't, because surely that is going to bring in some huge interest and views and wongaroolies. Because I would say that there's people controlling what is going out in mainstream media, and whoever's pulling the strings, whoever is the wizard behind the curtain, do not fucking run with that. Do whatever you do not do a video on that, because that is a mess. That is a mess. In more ways than one. But yes, I saw it. Thank you to those of you who pointed it out. I have seen the video. I've watched the whole thing. Even Mrs. Haas sat through it. And for most of the time that she was watching it, Mrs. Haas was sitting there with her mouth wide open, wondering what the absolute feck was going on. And then I did stop over at Jay Ombre and watch his video as well in the aftermath as a reaction to this. But so I'd say check both of them videos out, because this person seems to be completely off their fucking noodle. They seem to be suggesting that they are indeed the DoorDash driver from the Idaho 4 case, and not only that, but they saw Bryan Kohberger. Do I believe a fucking word she says? Absolutely not. But if the car matches and the behavior of this woman, what she looks like, and again, woman, questionable, but absolute wreckhead, it could explain the behavior of that car in that area. And it just, again, feeds into this situation where you've got these victims in this house, and just on the peripheral of them, it's just the D rugs everywhere. It's absolutely fucking everywhere, man. And you can't, it gets to the point, again, with circumstantial evidence. Like, people turn around, right, and they'll say, Bryan Kohberger, the circumstantial evidence is starting to build, and it gets to a point where it just fucking topples over, and it goes well hard into the, well, he must be guilty. But not being funny, But who around this case doesn't have circumstantial evidence building up to the point where it's fucking toppling over? Do you know what I mean? Xana Kernodle's door initially shut, now it's open. They're seeing her. They do nothing. They wait 8 hours to, and we're going to touch on that later because we've got this docu-series coming out, this 4-part docu-series that I touched on yesterday. And obviously, as that has now been announced, there is now reports coming out that is discussing some of the things that are being said. And that is going to be an eye-opener because this is coming, some of these interviews were done way back when. And they talk about the reasons why they were called over, Hunter and his other half. So, look, check that out later on today because it's just more, it just seems to me that there's just more lies. But there we go. Brian's fucked. Another witness to add to it. Eyewitness. Fucking Beavis and Butthead. Love you all. Mwah.